president has also threatened a federal takeover of D.C. multiple times. It was even one of his campaign promises to clean up what he has called a nightmare of murder and crime. But is it as easy as the president may make it seem? D.C. News Now's Candace Cole is here with more on what it would take for Trump to actually federalize the district.
Taking over D.C. isn't just something President Trump can do with the swipe of a pen through an executive order. D.C. has been under home rule since 1973, which means Washingtonians have the right to elect their own officials, and the district has the ability to govern itself. D.C. is under oversight from Congress, but it would take an act of Congress to overturn that home rule. Earlier this year, Senator Mike Lee from Utah and Tennessee Congressman Andrew Ogles introduced legislation to do so, but it would be tough to get it done with Democrats likely blocking that effort despite being in the minority. Republicans currently do not have the numbers to stave off a filibuster, but there are other ways for the federal government to exert its power over the district. We've just seen this play out with the current D.C. budget, with the House of Representatives refusing to take up legislation to restore D.C.'s budget to 2025 levels after the Senate passed a stopgap bill in March that included $1 billion in cuts to D.C.'s budget. Other examples include provisions tacked on to must-pass legislation preventing D.C. from regulating marijuana use and abortion care. Trump made his latest statements about taking over D.C. after a DOGE staffer was allegedly beaten up during a botched carjacking in D.C. over the weekend. Now he's calling for minors as young as 14 years old to be tried as adults.
You saw that a young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. and either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Now, D.C.'s National Guard does fall under the president's command. There's also a provision within D.C.'s home rule allowing him to take temporary control over MPD in the case of an emergency. He considered doing so back in 2020 during the George Floyd demonstrations and floated the idea yesterday during a press conference. Reporting in Northwest, Candace Cole, D.C. News Now.